Okay, we're live. Right. Good afternoon, everybody. I have got Vaz Coaching with me today, and we're going to be talking about relationships, particularly obviously around men. And we talked yesterday, a very quick chat about the resilience of relationships for men, and you've got quite a lot to give on this one. So I'm going to let Vaz, you introduce yourself to the group, and then we can have a chat. So.
All right. First of all, Sally, thank you very much for having me. It's the first time I'm coming on your group, and it's a fantastic opportunity to share my knowledge and my experience with your members. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vasilios, but for short people call me Vas because it's all Greek to them in terms of my name.
Yes, I found out this morning.
Yeah. With a few words about me, excuse me, I still got that cold. Hasn't worn off yet. For those of you who don't know me, I have a chefing background. I've been a chef for the past 20 years. So I have had a lot of contact with guys because, when you're a chef, you work long hours. And for good or for bad, you become like a family with the guys. So you share the problems. You spend more time with them than you spend with your actual family. And they share a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had some personal experiences that led me to choose to become a life coach and help people improve their relationships, or if they go through drama like a divorce, a major breakup that involves custody of children, bereavement sometimes because you might lose your beloved one. I help people build their resilience. So it won't take them as much as it did for me, because I've been in a similar situation in my life. To make the transition from actually start living your life again on your terms. You see, I used to be, as I said, I used to be a chef. Up until 2014, I was happily married. When one day my ex-wife decided she wanted a divorce, but little did I know that my problems would stop at that point, because 6 months down the line, I happened to lose somebody who was like a father figure for me. He raised me when my parents had split up, and also 6 months down the line, as I said, I also lost my father. So I literally, it was like somebody pulled the carpet under my feet, losing your sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I lost my sense of who I am, where I'm going, my purpose, everything. And I went over 2 years of depression and became workaholic, trying to figure it out, because back then I didn't know about coaching, I didn't know about anything. And I made it through in the end. But I decided I wanted to become a life coach after that, to help people, go through this loss much faster than I did. I don't want people to suffer. I don't like seeing people suffering. It breaks my heart. That's why I decided to become a life coach. So with a few words, this is who I am. This is my background. This is my motivation.
Yeah, wow, that's quite a story. I didn't realize there was so much behind you, because I know we didn't touch on it yesterday because we were going to talk today. But that's a lot of loss in a very short space of time. So I can understand you wanting to help people. So at the moment you deal with both sides. You deal with men and women in respect of your coaching. Yeah. But yesterday we talked about, you're going to talk to me today about the 5 qualities that make a good father, because we said that's quite a good one in here. So because there's a lot of parents within the group. So I don't really want to expand on that one.
Okay, so there is this belief, and it's also my belief, that there are 5 values that make a good parent. But also I would say they also make a good man in general. Okay. And I will go briefly to explain to the audience what they are, so they get the picture. So first of all, the first quality is being a protector. A man needs to be a protector. So if you're a father, for example, and you call 5 times, 10 times a day your child to see how they are, it's not like you're checking on them for a bad reason. You're checking on them to see if they're okay, if they need anything. It's the care of the parent. Okay, but also the same thing can apply with your relationship. When you like the person that you are with, calling them or texting them throughout the day. You don't have to be constant over the head, but calling them or texting them throughout the day just to check on them if they're okay shows interest, and also shows that you value the person that you are with. Okay.
Yeah, some people think that's something that you don't do. Don't there? Some people think that would be too much.
Well, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Because I've been through a lot of relationships in my life, and the major thing was that well, it all boils down to how much are you interested in the person. Because if you're interested, you will commit and you will invest. And what I realized that people who find it a problem, somebody else checking with them, usually is because they're not okay with it, because they didn't have it in their past. They didn't have it from the parents. They didn't have it from the previous relationships. They're not used to it. That's why I say it's a good problem to have, because it reflects something in you. It shows something. It shows that I'm not used to it, so I'm learning something. Because you see, every relationship, you will learn something. It's not only, having a good sex, having a good dinner night, holidays and stuff. This communication. You learn. You might end up living forever with this person. You might end up being only a month, 6 months, or 3 years together. But you learn. It's a process, because you grow up together.
Yeah.
And well, the protector is this guy, the person who always cares for the family. He cares for what he has. Okay? Because you spoke with the person that you are with, and you made a promise. You live up to your promise, not only for the person, but for yourself. You are a person of integrity. You honor your word.
Yeah.
A man basically is defined by the responsibility, his level and his ability to take responsibility on. Okay? Not necessarily showing up as a strong guy, as we were discussing last night, and believes the system has. No, it's in our ability. A woman, you can see it from her level and her ability to take care of things within the space that she's given. A man is to take the control. Is responsible for it, to maintain it. Now, the second stage we discussed about being a protector. The second stage, which is exactly what we're just saying, is a provider. Be able to provide, be able to give what the family needs when it's needed, but also being able to rein in. In terms of, is this necessary right now? Do we need it right now? Do we need a bit later? Should we kind of think about what's the best way to invest? But being a provider is a big thing. Another way to see it is that when a guy goes out on a first date, okay? I know this is not true for all women, but I've seen to a lot of women it matters. Being out on a first date and being able to pay. You go on a date. Okay? It's about being gallant, being polite. Some women, I know, they see it as, if he cannot provide a plate of food now that it's the two of us, moving forward, if we want to have a family, how he will be able to provide food for the family. Again, it's not about that only. It's the generosity. It's the being okay to be giving. Because you see, we're living in a society which is very highly competitive and promotes the idea of me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
What's in it for me. And showing that you actually care and you're interested and you're willing to go the extra mile for the other person, slowly it becomes something out of the ordinary. And well, it might be seen, sometimes it might be seen as old-fashioned, but I know for sure women value, no matter how much old-fashioned it looks, women value someone who cares, who's gallant, who shows the difference. You open the door. When you pick up a girl, you pull the chair for her to sit down. You go and take the first few dates. You just don't text her and tell her, here, just calm down. No, you go out the door and you wait for her to calm down. You grab her by the arm nicely. You take her to the car, if you have a car, or you just walk together. That shows how much you value the person that you are with.
Yeah, that's true.
It makes a difference. And especially we are living in a city right now with 22 million people. You need to make a difference. You need to be able to stand out. I know it sounds weird what I'm sharing with you, Sally, right now, but trust me, even in my group with the girls that I'm also coaching them, every time I share these things, women always clap because, sorry, women always clap and applaud this because it's not something that you see every day. So to your male clients, if they take these actions, they will see a difference straight away.
Yeah. And I must admit, I appreciate it when somebody opens the door for me, much as I go, you don't have to do that. The fact that they do it is so nice. And I agree with you there. So. Yeah.
Now, the third part of the third quality of being a good parent is
Mm.
being a promoter.
Mm.
Being a promoter means that you have reached the stage where you don't think about yourself only anymore. Okay,
Right.
I've seen. I'm sad to say that I've seen in the past some families that were going out on dinners, big meetings, and you would see the parents very well dressed, and you would see the children dressed like gypsies,
Yeah.
or you will see the other way around, and that's not
Yeah.
a good thing. So being a father and being a promoter is having in mind the whole family. So not only you to look good, but the whole
Mm.
family to look good.
Yeah.
I've had bad situations in my life where, because I'm coming from divorced parents, like my mom would prepare me like very nicely dressed for my dad to take me for the weekend. My dad would stroll around and just show me off, show off. Like, you see, oh, my son is very well. But
Yeah.
what did you do about it? You just
Yeah.
took something ready, and you did. He had never had that promoter mindset.
Yeah.
It's a
Mm.
big one, especially with divorced parents. You know,
Mm.
you take a well-dressed child, leave it as it is. I'm sorry, not leave it as it is. Bring it back as you took it. But also,
Yeah.
you need to learn how to look good. So if you're a father and you have like 2 children and your wife, it's always nice when you go out, all of them to look good. That's what you need to bear in mind as a parent, as a father,
Mm.
because I'll say, well, it's a bit kinky, but it makes sense.
Mm.
How you treat your partner on the outside is how it defines how your partner will treat you on the inside when you're alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mm.
it really pays when you have in mind that no, it's not only for me to look good, it's also for
Mm.
the whole family to look good.
Yeah.
Because this levels up the appreciation that you have around you. It levels up how people see you when you go
Mm.
out, who don't know you, the manners the children have, how you treat your girlfriend in front of everybody. Well, of course, it should be the same way how you treat her when you're at home. But all
Mm.
these, so, the only reason I'm sharing this, I know that the audience know all these things, but the only reason I'm sharing this is that because a lot of the time, especially in long-term relationships, all of these things we take them for granted.
Mm. Yeah.
That
Totally.
because we take them for granted is where we lose the game.
I think it's within a person, because it's something that I always promote when I do talk about confidence and male confidence. Is what you said there is dress nicely. You know, just the way you portray yourself, matters hugely, because you're right. What you portray on the outside, the inside can feel as well. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with you there. It's it resonates on both sides.
And always be aware of your surroundings, where you're going. Always you need to be dressed according to where you need to go. But
Yeah.
for a man as much as for a woman, it always pays to be very well dressed accordingly. I will tell you one thing, since we're discussing this one now. When I used to feel really down, as I explained earlier, and I focused a lot on myself and my business and my work that I had back then. And I made some good money, and I decided to upgrade my dress code.
Yeah.
Immediately, it had a major effect on me, how I was feeling. As I said, we take a lot of things for granted. So if you're in a work, let's say in a job for 5-10 years, okay, what you do is that you tend to go dressed the way that you used to, whatever that may be, But if you change your attire, you will see that your how to explain this? Like we have that routine that we take,
Yeah.
okay. But if you start changing, let's say if you just change your clothes, you just change the perfume that you wear, you will start noticing that something starts to shift in that routine that you take, the back and forth every day. People will start looking at you different. You go in the office, you go in your the garage, wherever you work, people will start looking at you different.
Yeah.
And how to say, I had the eyes turn around and look at me exactly because I changed the way I dress. No matter how, always a good dressed man is always attracts the eye. Let's say.
Yeah.
But let's see. The fourth step of being a good father is being a priest. A priest is a bit strange to explain.
Yeah, when you said this last night, I'm interested to hear this one.
Yeah. it's a bit hard to explain because I don't see it too often happening, unfortunately. But being a priest means like not exactly giving the purpose to the children and the family in the direction of the family, because that comes on the prophet, which is the next one. But being a priest is remembering the word. I'm missing the word. It's what is sacred. Remembering what is sacred. Say the old sayings that you took from your parents, the old habits that your parents had. Like every Sunday we do this. Like the ceremonies, the rituals that you got from your family, where you come from. This is kind of being the priest. Take for example, right? Back in the ancient days, we used to have the domus and the domina of the house, and they have specific ceremonies of the house that the man of the house would perform, and certain ceremonies that the woman of the house would perform along with the other woman. But the priest now, being the priest now in these ages, the sacred ceremonies can be sorry, it can be like when the whole family is sitting down to have lunch or to have dinner. That's a sacred ceremony. It's the moment where you sit down and you discuss the things of the day. It can be like going every Sunday on a church, but it's not about only going to the church. It's about instilling a bit spirituality.
Yeah.
Because as your children grow up, you teach them certain things. You know, you don't do this. You're a man. You're doing that. You're a girl. You're doing this. Some certain things that they will take with them as they grow up. I would say it's a bit adding the spiritual aspect to the family. Is the why we do what we do, kind of. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and you don't see that so much now. I can honestly say I would think that's one of them. That's one of the qualities that I think has been very much lost, which is unfortunate.
And I know it sounds strange. Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
No, fine.
Okay. It's a bit sad, but believe it or not, is another way of holding the family together. Because right now you see most of the time children. What happens actually is that children can't wait to get 18 so they can get out of the house. Parents get tired by the time children to leave, so they will be free. But then again, they miss them.
Yeah.
They miss them. And then sometimes they think like, oh my God, where did we go wrong? Okay. But part of it is this, creating the sacred rituals of the family that will hold the family together. It's like how the father and the mother, how they teach the brother and the sister, the siblings, how to behave in the house. That's part of the process, of course, right?
Yeah, and also I'm quite lucky. I've got a very strong family. My father's like that. He holds us all together, and there's four of us basically. There's obviously my sister, my parents, and we all talk regularly. We're very much connected as a family, and that has been down to the strength of my parents, I think. And my sister and I are very, very close. I speak to either my sister or my parents every single day, and I think that's quite unusual. But I have a similar connection with my daughter as well, that we're very close. So, and I think that's within families it's important, and I think a lot of families lose that sometimes. And I see that in my coaching, that there's, like you say, when you actually go back to somebody's history, that there's that disconnection.
Yeah, but you see that, as I said again, if you think about it, we live now in a very highly competitive society. People can't wait to go out and compete, make money. I remember, we're going a bit off topic, but still relevant. I had a friend who was dating a girl, and that girl, the family, they had like 2-3 siblings plus the parents. And all this family they were either lawyers or doctors, and there was a constant battle within the house for who was the more important and who was making the more money, and that dictated for the boys and the girls the people that they would date. You see, they were going out on a date and they would say like, how much money you make? If you make less than 60,000 per year, you're not good for me. My friend was like, what the heck? What's going on here? We're not doing a competition. We're not doing business.
Yeah.
But that's something to show us the indoctrination, the education that they had within the family. But you see, and this is when you lose it, because what happens is as they grow older, these family members, they grow more apart. Because the ego, as they grow up, the ego grows up with them. And they don't want to let go of the ego. And then something goes wrong, we're all pointing fingers at each other.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why holding some rituals into place, some spirituality, let's say, into place is a really important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes people think of spirituality as being the woo-woo side of things, but actually it's not. It's the connection, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
Exactly. Look, because we have 3 responsibilities, okay, in life, apart from many other responsibilities. But the first responsibility is how we communicate with ourselves, the language we're using, okay, to understand each
yeah.
other. Then is the responsibility of how we communicate that with the people around us, our beliefs, our values, how we value our friendships, how we value our jobs, how we value our relationships. Second stage is communication. And the third stage of communication is the communication we have with the universe. And that is like how it connects us with a purpose, because everybody has a purpose, the reason for being here.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, as you said, it's not woo stuff, it's basic stuff in life. What's your purpose? What you're doing here for?
Yeah.
Like to pay bills, and die. It's more things. But you might like doing a good action for somebody, helping a child, becoming a teacher to help educate children, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But this is the conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But this one, though, brings us to the 5th step of being a good father, and that one is being a prophet. Okay. And this is a funny one because how many times have we seen somebody, whether it's a boy or girl, okay, they're at school, they're accomplishing something at sports, okay, and where the first thing they do is they say like, "Mom, look at me."
Yeah.
They would say, "Mom," when they succeed at something in life in general. The first person to call is mom. But when it comes to the dad, that being a prophet means that being able to speak the future into his children. Okay, because of course moms and dads, they want the best for the children, but mom is always there. Mom is always there. We know that. But fathers are a bit strange because we're more like we don't talk too much. We don't open up too much. So that's why you will see whenever the dad says something good to the child, it's like 10 times more than what the mom will say, because it doesn't come as often. So for the father, being a prophet is being able to see what his children are capable of. Also, it's something else. It's like being able to support the children. You will see somebody's going, as we said earlier on sports, they feel like they cannot make it, and then the father intervenes and says like, "No, you can make it. You got this, son, because I believe in you." It sounds a bit strange, but why I'm saying this is because you will see moms will always say this. But that's the thing, moms will always say this. So we kind of take for granted the love we get from moms.
Yeah.
For good or for bad, because this is how it is. This is how we grow up. But then again, that's why you have the dad dad will say like one word and will count for 10.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the prophet. Because as I said, the father will always see something, and it's really important to be able, as a father, to speak greatness into your children.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. When you said about this when we talked yesterday, I really like this. I think it's really good. So it's provider, protector, promoter, prophet, and priest.
Yes.
So the 5 qualities that make a good father. I think that's really good. So if we go on to talk about resilience in relationship, I know there's quite a few guys in here who are married, and there's also the single element as well. And, I see some chat sometimes in respect of, how, they build resilience in how, because obviously people get hurt by other people, etc. So what advice would you give people in that respect, to build the resilience?
All right. The first mistake we tend to do is the older you get, okay, you tend to, when you start a relationship, you go on a first date, you start meeting somebody, you're texting, whatever you do, we tend to judge the current situation we have based on past experiences. Okay, and if you've been hurt in the past, for good or for bad, subconsciously you will start looking for telltale signs that show you that this person might look very similar to that ex.
Yeah.
Subconsciously you start looking for bad things, for things that could go wrong. So the first mistake we do is that we judge based on our past. So this what it says. So what does that says to us is that we make future decisions based on our past, not on our present. So the best gift you can do to yourself is that if you could go on an empty, as an empty canvas, blank slate, and just judge on face value, let's say, just take it as it is, one thing at a time. Okay, because if something goes wrong, that just reminds you of somebody else, which it might be a coincidence, then you start putting that filter in front of you, and let's say you're dating a girl who's called Sally, all right? And then you put no pun intended. And then what happens though is that you put a filter in front of you that is called Maria. Okay, and you start blowing off steam and accusing and being mistrusting, but you're not to Sally. You're not doing that to Sally. You're doing to Maria. And the worst thing of all this that you don't see, it's not even Sally. It's not even Maria. The worst thing that he who gets most hurt out of all of this is you. Because
I think that's because people sort of they don't heal themselves. They just jump from one situation to another without actually healing themselves within.
Exactly. And well, for good or for bad, though, you will see that most often this happens with women. Women usually can't stand being on their own. That's why you will see them to jump from one relationship to the next. Well, of course, I'm not trying to accuse, okay? I've seen also guys doing the same. Doesn't matter. Best case scenario is that you should take a little time off and be on your own. But now that we discussed this, just brought something else in mind. I had a conversation with a client of mine the other day, and to give a bit better picture of what we're discussing right now. She's 35, okay, and she had a bad experience in a relationship when she was 16. But what happened when she was 16? She said, like, I'm not gonna ever open up my heart to anyone. You say this sentence, all right? And what happened is that every relationship that came after that, she was always mistrusting, always closed off. Eventually the guys would tire and they would give up and they would go away, and she wouldn't understand why. And she started becoming a little bit paranoid, of course, as the years went by, because she couldn't understand, and she became even more mistrusting. So we had this conversation, and I said to her, like, look, you're 35, something happened when you were 16. You said that sentence to yourself, which defined your future. Now the problem, what you're facing right now, is that you have allowed a 16-year-old person to run your life.
Yeah.
So every time you make a choice, it's not a 35-year-old, when it comes to relationships, right? It's clear. It's not a 35-year-old woman who makes the decision.
Yeah.
It's a 16-year-old. So basically, you're allowing a 16-year-old to run your love life. It's quite shocking.
Yeah, it is.
A picture of it.
Yeah.
That's why when we're working with the clients, as you know, it's better if you go a bit in the past and discern the past.
Yeah.
And it's really good stuff. I know for men it's not easy to open up and share, but it's a really biggie if they can open up and share. And I had a bad experience when I was younger. It made me feel this and that. If you can clear that up, that will become like a domino effect that will start affecting your future.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, we have the two most common limiting beliefs we have as human beings is one is I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
One is I'm unlovable.
Yeah.
And for men, I can tell you for sure, for men that I'm not good enough, it can be like, it can destroy you.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and it is, as you say, it's a destroyer, an absolute destroyer, and getting past that is very, very hard. I mean, obviously, that's why we do what we do. So, and the other one I hate to hear, which I don't know, I'd like to hear your take on this. When you hear, I heard somebody say it the other day, and I cringed, was man up. That's one of my pet hates. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear it a lot because I see it in other groups for men as well. A lot of men resent this.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
A lot of men resent this because, first of all, what does it mean, man up? What does it mean, man up for you? What does it mean, man up for me? We didn't grow in the same family. It's a really bad thing to say to a man right now at this time stage, man up. And I'll tell you why. And that's my pain, right? What I mean by that is that right now, go and check statistics. How many single parent families are compared to how many normal parent families we have? Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
you might have a mom raising a son right now. Because my mom raised me actually. My parents divorced when I was 3.
mm,
She was trying to be a man and a woman at the same time to raise a family. So what does it mean, man?
mm, yeah,
Okay, you have your teachers, you have your martial art teachers, if you do your sports coach, you have these people, but they're not your dad.
mm,
You don't feel that biological connection. But okay, let's leave that aside for now. But then, as I said, take that step back, and we need to realize that what does it mean, man up, for a man who never grew up in a family with a male model,
yeah,
24/7 in the house.
yeah,
And that creates a huge problem moving forward, not only about how we behave as men as we grow up, but in the society outside, but it also affects how we behave within relationships. If, as I was growing up 24/7, okay, I didn't have that in front of me, that the theater, the play of seeing how mom and dad interact,
yeah, yeah,
how will I know subconsciously later on when I go in a relationship how to create my relationship?
yeah, true. Yeah,
And this interestingly enough, there is a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy.
yeah,
I can't remember the author right now, but I just want to stand in one short paragraph. After we had the First and the Second World War, you know that all the major jobs were done by men,
yeah,
teachers, secretaries, and all this stuff. But because a lot of men died during the war,
mm,
the society was forced to change. So they started having women filling up all these roles. So
yeah, yeah,
can you imagine that after 45, you had a lot of families being raised by only by single moms?
yeah,
Because a lot of the dads had just passed away from war.
yeah,
It's only like 70, 80 years ago, but that was a major transformation of the society that we're living. Now we had this, okay? A lot of families lost one parent because of the war. Then you had the group of families wanting to be together because the previous generation grew up without one of the two parents. Okay, so we went through that stage where we had both parents in the house, and now we're going to the next stage where we're having single parent families.
yeah.
Um, I don't know actually where we went to.
Yeah, we're going a bit off track. But, yeah, no, I was just thinking about the thing of man up, and you were explaining that actually. It's a difficult one to relate to now because we've got so many families grow up with one parent. Quite often the families grow up with the mother. So I was going to move around a bit. The sun's right in my face here. Yeah, I'm just moving around. I've got a bad back as well. Yeah, so know how that affects people. The whole man up. How do you define what man up actually means?
So yeah, I would say, okay, if I could give one piece of advice to make a long story short, I would say don't think in terms of man up. Okay, because as I said, if I was raised in a single parent family with my mom trying to be my dad as well, I would grow up being softer.
Yeah, yeah.
More sensitive, which is a nice thing because we're changing society. But what I would suggest is that it's okay the way it was. It's beautiful the way it was because you're a beautiful soul. You came to learn specific lessons in life and make a difference in your own way. But if you need to think in terms of what would be for you to man up, for you as a guy, is that I would say check role models, right? What person inspires you in a good way?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And start shadowing them. It's an advice actually I've given to some ladies in terms of relationships. I said, like, you might have in the family, in the immediate family or the extended family, you might have couples that actually work well together. So why not visit them and just have lunch with them, just to see how they interact with each other, just ask for advice, see how they operate, to start getting ideas. All these are a process. The same thing I would say for somebody who would like to find a role model. For me, for example, a role model is Steve Harvey. He's a comedian, but he is a role model for many people in the world right now. Or the Bishop, T.D. Jakes, or for somebody else might be Louis House. How is called? but start seeing people like public figures that they inspire you. See how they operate. See the habits that they have. Let me think. Another guy, for example, could be Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
I've seen how he operates with his children, how he trains them, how he speaks to them.
Mm.
Might be for somebody, because what is a role model for me might not be for you, and so on and so forth. But it's not. But always bear in mind that it's a good thing to have a good, healthy role model to give you ideas. Because, as I said again, and as you said, Sally, what it means man up for somebody else might be an entirely different story for somebody else.
Yeah. So with the guys, when we go sort of talk about dating and things, what advice would you give men when they're going back into the dating world with relationships?
Depends. Are we talking guys who just had they just split up and they just want to go back in the game?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Usually, when we go through a breakup, what happens is kind of we lose sense of who we are. Especially we had invested a lot of time and energy with the person that we were with. Okay, you feel like you lose a bit of your world. Especially imagine like being 3-4 years with somebody. Okay, that can be like detrimental to your mental health for a while. So for me, first thing is always like focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, like go do some sports. Go a big thing I would suggest is go travel. Save your money and go travel. Change countries, not just change cities, change countries. Because the pictures that you will get, the people, the culture, the food, the drink, everything will start giving you a different picture. Because what happens as men, okay, we tend to be sometimes very, very focused on the situation that we have in front of us. And when we break up, we feel like because we lose that focus, we feel lost. But it's really nice if you travel a bit, because then you get the chance to go and see how another world operates, another country, how they operate. It opens up your eyes and it shows you the basic things. One of them being like, don't focus on the leaf, and then you lose the vision of the forest. That's bigger than just one person. But the other good thing is that when you focus on yourself, the right thing that is for you usually tends to find you. We have, okay, and since we're talking about dating now, is I have the belief that says that like attracts like. You usually, almost never, you don't attract something that doesn't have similarities to you. But the reason why we don't find usually the person that is the right fit for us is that because we don't advertise our likes and our dislikes, our values and our beliefs. Have you ever seen this thing that like there is a woman who says, I want to find a man who wants to get married and have family within the next 1 year, and you see that woman after a year she's actually married and she might be pregnant, but that's only because they're focused. They knew what they wanted.
I've been told to, one of the things I was told to do is write down your ideal date, what your ideal date would be, as in, where you would go, what you would do, the whole thing around it, how it'd make you feel, how you picture things. And I thought that was quite a powerful one to do.
This is also part of the ask and you shall receive that you just said, is visualizing how you want things to go. And this was the other secret, I would say, that people don't get what they want because they speak in generic terms. Okay, my mentor once did a joke with me, and he said like, let's say, what do you want? So like, I want to be rich. I want to have more money. And what he did, he took 10p out of his pocket and he put it on the desk. And he says like, now you're richer because you have 10p more. And I've got stuck. I say like, you're not rich because you're not specifically. You don't specify what does it mean rich for you. Is it 6 figures, 7 figures? You need to be specific. Once your mind, which is like a magnet, will start attracting the opportunities that will bring you the money that you want. That's the reason why you don't have what you want in life. It's like, okay, that makes sense. And it's really good what you just shared about the first date. Let's say first date. You need to visualize. You need to visualize how you will create the lady that you will go out with. You need to visualize how you will speak. You need to visualize the restaurant deal that you will go how you want. Like you will see yourself pulling the chair for her to sit down. Visualize the waitress coming first, giving to the lady the menu and then to you. Like you need to visualize how you want things to go. And the more you visualize, the more you practice that visualization, the more things will start falling into alignment.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but when did we see it first? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's exactly the same thing. That's like visualize specifically what you want in order to get it.
Yeah, because I always apply that theory to, because I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was saying, because they were quite negative, and I said, if you're negative, you're giving out a negative vibe, therefore you're attracting negativity within, and therefore people around you are going to be negative. Whereas if you're more positive and you put out that positivity, then you'll attract that positivity. So it was funny. It was a conversation I was having with a friend of mine the other day. So
which is exactly what we were saying earlier. Remember? The three responsibilities, how you communicate with yourself.
Yeah. I know, because the other thing I had this week was one of my friends messaged me and said that she was having a difficult time she'd met a guy and it was all going quite nicely and they were texting quite a lot and chatting, and then it stopped. And she said to me, how do I deal with that? What do I do? And my response was, then you have that open communication. If you're afraid to say, this is how this makes me feel, then it might not be right. So my advice there was actually, text now, text whenever, not now, but when you're ready to say, when you do this, it makes me feel like this. And she said, you run for the hills? I said, well, if you run for the hills, it wasn't meant to be. I said, because it's about being able to be honest and, as you say, communicate.
Right. What I'm hearing is, I will tell you two things. First thing is, if you want things to be misunderstood, misinterpreted, and everything to go wrong,
text.
If you want to solve things, you always send a text that will lead to a call, and the call that will lead, and the call needs to lead to a meeting. There needs to be progression. That's it.
Yeah, and that's the bit she was missing, because that's the bit she was pushing for, and as soon as she started pushing for it, that's when the texts stop. And I think that's somebody who just wants a text chat. That isn't somebody who wants a relationship.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, the pushing part. Yeah, well, I've seen, actually, I cannot say it's more a girl thing or a boy thing, because I've seen the more you push, especially in the beginning, the more you push, the more people will go away. What you need to make, it will sound a bit kinky and weird, quirky, what I will say, but everybody can find somebody to have sex if that's what they need.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the time that we're living, and let's be honest, okay? Boy meets girl, that's one thing that we want. But the difference here is you don't want to be wanted. Okay? You want to be needed.
Yeah.
When you're pushing, people will go away, because then they go in the defensive mode straight away, and they will think like, you know what, I can find somewhere else, something like that. You want to be needed, and that's the fact. And when we say that you want to be needed, it means that you need to learn to be patient.
Yeah.
To give space. Make the person, whether it's a boy or whether it's a girl, you need to make them think about, in terms of, let's say, as you said earlier with your friend, that you've been texting every day 10, 20, 15 minute messages. Then suddenly maybe the girl stops or the guy stops. Then what happens automatically is that you start wondering, where has this person gone?
Yeah.
Then the other person starts texting, okay, like, where are you? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. That's what you want. You want that interest. It's a cat and mouse game, unfortunately, in the beginning, until you stabilize and you create a new status quo, let's say, of how things are. But then again, you don't do that because you want to give a hard time to the person. It's just you're trying to discern if actually that person is committed and they want something. That's why you can, if you're a woman, that's why you can introduce the 90-day rule. Yes. Business respects simplicity. Relationships respect simplicity. When you start dating somebody, it's like when you start working somewhere, no company will give you the full benefits until you go through the probation period.
I've never heard this one. Come on, tell me more about this. I'm interested in this one. You got my attention completely now.
This is girl stuff. No man wants to hear this, because they will think in terms of like, oh my god, something else to happen. Yeah. But it's all about it is a nice rule, only because as we said, we're in a fast-paced society. People are more like, rinse, clean, rewind. The commitment is scarce. But the only reason we say this 90-day rule where you hold back giving the full benefits as a woman is only because you want to see and understand if the person that you're dating with is a player, or he's a keeper. Okay, I was trying to find the right word. Okay, that's still the reason. And and the thing is, we all like to play around. Okay, we all like to date. We all like to have fun, and so on and so forth. But eventually, we all want to have a family. We all want to have children.
Yeah.
You will hear people saying that, "Oh, I don't want that." That's the only reason why is because they didn't have good experiences in the past, the immediate surroundings. That doesn't mean that this is for them or they won't be lucky to have something. It might take a little bit extra time because they might have a little trust issue, but that's okay. That's why you're here in this world at this time and age, to learn to overcome all these things and become a better person. Okay. And for me, if you're up to 25, 28, up until then, it's okay if you want to live with life. But after that time, you should be looking to settle down. You should be looking to find someone. Okay. Because as a woman, you define how you feel loved by the immediate surroundings that you have, by your partner, that you have children, all this. But a man defines love in terms of respect, how much respect he takes from the family. That's his partner, plus his ability to provide, to be there and provide. Okay. So these two things are nice because up until 25, 28, you're still learning about yourself, gathering experiences, which is a good thing. You have finished college, you have gone into your first job for a couple of years, that's fine. But then you need to start thinking a bit more forward. Find somebody who has the same values like you do, like attraction, like as we said earlier. Okay. Start thinking in terms of settling down. If not settling down immediately, at least it's good at least to be with someone that you can see that you can have common future together, because we also have this thing now where you see couples that don't want to get married, but they still have children, and their father recognizes the child and also which is fine. But I'm only saying this because, as we know by experience, it's not good for men to be alone. It's not good. It's like, it's painful. Because the more you stay alone, and you have that little internal voice, it starts saying to you that you're not good enough. And then as a man, you start going inside and you don't talk too much. Because as we grow older, especially after 30, we have this thing that's called isolation. Being more social, because women when they feel bad about something, they will speak about it. They will let the world know about it. When a man feels bad about something, he goes more silent. He goes more silent. He goes more inside. The problem is, he might go inside when he's 15. He's 50 now. And he has been so much trapped being inside the space that he doesn't know anymore how to get out of it. And the worst thing is when you start bringing toys inside the cave that you have created for yourself. These toys, you understand, might be alcohol, might be drugs, might be many things. That's why a man is not good to be alone. That's why a man needs a woman to be together, because a man gives the stability the woman craves, and the woman gives the opportunity for the man to open up, to share, to communicate, to start speaking. So they can find the balance that we need as human beings. Because nobody has come in this world to be alone forever.
No, I think that's a misconception. A lot of people think that, I'm all right on my own. No, you're not.
Yeah,
we're not on this planet to be on our own.
I grew up with my mom like this.
At
the age of 55, she was like, so nice to be on my own. The moment she hit 55, she's like, it's not good to be alone. Make your choices.
Although we have that joke in this house. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to you today. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Where can people find you? I mean, you're obviously in the group, so they can reach out to you in the group, but your website and things?
Yes. So first of all, people can find me on the group, as you said. They can find me under my name, which we can provide to them if they want to see my personal page, which is kind of like my professional page right now. Or they can find me on www.vastsitsivosreiki.co.uk, which is my webpage where I'm advertising my my offers, which is Reiki and about relationships at the same time. All these we can post them below in the comments. For people.
Yeah. If you can do that when we finish, that'd be brilliant, so people can find you. So, because obviously I don't deal with relationships, so I stay away from anything like that.
You're doing a fantastic job because you help men realize, find a pathway to find their confidence.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
That's all we need. If you find your confidence, everything else flows after that.
Yeah, and then I push them your way.
Maybe.
Well, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it, Baz, and do stay in touch. So,
Thank you for having me, first of all.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good day. I'll speak to you soon. All right. Bye.